Imagine buying a brand new car, Ferrari or McLaren, whatever you want, for just $1. Seems impossible, right? Yet one man did exactly the same. And he didn't use any code, any hacking techniques, you know. He used just words. And even if the guy didn't get the car in the end, it's a dramatic illustration that AI can be hacked in many different ways, and LLMs are not perfect, and there are many surprising ways we and others can hack it. How many of you have used any LLM-based chatbots like ChatGPT or Gemini or something else during the last week? All right, almost everyone. And now keep your hand up if you completely trust the output of all of these beautiful things. All right, almost no one. And that's exactly this small doubt is why I'm here and trying to create awareness about them. Did you hear about OWASP before today? Oh, nice. Some people use it daily, I guess, or often. And OWASP is known for its top 10 lists for APIs, for web applications, and so on. And now they did it for LLMs as well. And this is a community-driven effort to identify global risks. And here I'm today on the mission to create awareness about them. It's quite hard to remember all the points in this top 10 list, but I prefer to divide them in two groups. And the first one is the possible attack vectors, or basically how attackers could harm your AI integrations. And the second bucket is what then? What happens? Why do we care? What happens if they succeed? And let's start with the attack vectors. Basically, it's how someone could attack your AI. And here, attackers have full menu of options, from new things like prompting and messing with vector databases to quite traditional ones, old school things like tampering with libraries and trying to overload the system. And there are a lot of buzzwords, I know, but I'll try to keep it simple. And the key point here that I want to make is that LLMs have a big attack surface, and they have a lot of pain points where attackers could get in. Do you have any hackers here? No? No hackers? Okay. Let's start with the attack vectors. And the first one is the big one. Do you remember the trick with the car? That was prompt injection. And this is the big one. It's ranked #1 in the top 10 list, and for a good reason, because it's literally hacking with words. So almost everyone could speak, I guess. So I and you and everyone else could be a hacker, right? Yeah, and recently I also felt a bit like a hacker when I was testing one of the customer bots, customer support bots. Everyone wants to have a customer chat nowadays, of course, using AI and LLMs. And it didn't take too long to trick the system. I just asked for the previous name, for the name of the previous customer who chatted with this bot. And it gave me the name. Well, yeah, you know, it's not nice. And now if you guardrail your system prompts, there are more traditional ways of attacking AI applications or integrations, because LLMs, they're not functioning in isolation. And modern LLM apps and integrations, they use a lot of third-party components, APIs, cloud services. They depend on a lot of things. And if any of these components is compromised or weak, then the whole system is at risk. And in fact, the first data breach that OpenAI, the global vendor of large language models, experienced was just because of the vulnerability in Python, one of the open source Python libraries. It was PyTorch. So just imagine developers are doing a routine update, and then they're introducing hackers straight into their backend. So many people were surprised by this breach, and yeah, it is not good. The next one is called data poisoning, and it sounds scary. And conceptually, it is really, really scary. Because data poisoning means that an attacker could contaminate the training data or mess up with the model parameters directly to harm your system. Just yesterday, I read a nice example study that Anthropic did. And what they did is they showed that only 250 malicious documents could destroy, could completely poison the whole 13 billion parameters LLM. So 0.0001% of the wrong data could ruin the whole system. Another example of how things could go wrong were actually recreated during an experiment called Chaos GPT. And what happened is that one guy created an AI agent and connected it to tools like web search and some social media APIs and so on. And what he did, he instructed this agent to destroy humanity. Well, some people have strange hobbies, I know, but we're safe. We're safe because this agent didn't have access to actual weapons. But just think about it. If we give AI agents the means of doing something, they will do it without any judgment or fear or ethical concerns. They will just do it. And you know, you all know the phrase, with great power comes great responsibility. So if we give the great power of executing code, especially beyond just chatting, so it's better we have great guardrails and think about where does the line go? What are we expecting the system to execute? Because otherwise attackers are going to use these vulnerabilities. All right, the next one is a bit technical, but I will try to keep it short and simple. And you know that many AI applications, they're using something that's called vector databases, and basically that's a kind of a private Wikipedia for your application, where LLM could search for answer if it doesn't know it from the general training data. And what happens is that attackers, they could insert malicious pages into this private Wikipedia to harm your system. And it is quite easy to do, especially if you have insider information. So yeah, this one is easily accessible and a big pain point for many companies right now. And finally, for the attack vectors, one more traditional way of harming the systems is overloading the system. It's super straightforward, and the main point here is that LLMs that you should know or keep in mind is that LLMs on their own, they don't have any limitations, any built-in limitations on how much they should process or how much they should output. So hackers could use this backdoor as well. And keep in mind that it's developers of your app who are responsible for creating these limits and guardrails. Well, those were 6 ways attackers can attack or exploit the AI system. And if it feels like a lot, remember that you could further divide them into basically input attack vectors and infrastructure attack vectors. And the main thing is that LLMs have multiple points of attack. Well, what could possibly go wrong, you might wonder? Why should we care about all of these attack vectors? What happens if AI applications are compromised? Well, there are actually a lot of reasons to care about security of these systems. And most of the companies, they care, first of all, about privacy and private data because of legal requirements and limitations. There are also many technical reasons to care about security because no one wants to read in the news how your system, for example, is supposed to work because your application leaked the system prompts. And also things like improper output handling and so on are also not nice. Well, I've just painted pretty alarming picture, and if I would stop here, then you would probably be thinking, well, AI is a disaster. I don't even want to touch it and work with it. But actually, we have a lot in our toolbox to start working and making AI applications more secure. What do we need then? Well, critical thinking, first of all, strong system thinking, understanding what are the components your application consists of, what are the parts of the chain where attackers could get in. This is really, really important. And projects like OWASP, they give us a good starting point because what we could do is just to use them as a checklist. Well, did we try to test prompt injection? Check. Did we double check with the architects and developers how the system works, what are the components, what are the most vulnerable components? Then check, and so on and so on. So we should integrate those practices into software development cycles because the world situation is forcing us to rethink security and how much effort we put into securing our applications. So yes, AI does introduce new wrinkles, but we are not starting from zero, and everyone who has ever found a bug has already has what it needs to be a security champion in your company. AI is quite powerful, but it's not perfect. And that's totally okay. You know, early computers, they felt magical too, until we learn how to work with them, how do they function, how to test them, how to secure them. And AI is today's magic. And our work is basically the same. We need to look behind the curtains. We need to understand how it works. We need to start somewhere. We need to be proactive and ask yourself, what is the highest priority for us? What are the highest risks? Well, and you know, even if AI is today's magic, we are here today and tomorrow at our workplace to make sure that this magic doesn't harm anyone. And that's how we make the systems safe for everyone. And as we wrap up soon, I would like to leave you with a challenge. Come to your team and ask, do we test our AI integrations? And if the answer is no, we don't, or the vendor is handling this for us, then you know that it's time to step up. It's time to make this first step in securing applications. Don't be afraid to start small and just follow your curiosity, because security is a quite fluid space, and application security is a race, because hackers create new ways of harming your application, and we testers, we try to catch these opportunities. And you know, even if AI security is a race, we testers, we know how to run this race. And I really encourage you to step in and take some actions. Thank you very much. Thank you. We have some time for questions, right?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah,
and
nice.
Actually, we do have some questions. And they'll pop up on the screen in 3, 2, 1. There you go.
Nice.
I'll read them to you. That gives you time to think about them. How can we make sure LLM we are using handles our input correctly and does not leak into other users?
Well, test it. Yeah, there is, because, you know, LLM output is non-deterministic, and there is no secure way of guaranteeing that it will behave the same over and over again. But there are still some options that we could use. For example, using system prompts that limit your LLM exposure. And there are also ways of filtering whatever LLMs are going to you know, give to your customer. And those are programmatic ways. So we need to keep an eye on what the LLMs are producing. So basically, these are these 3 options. But it's a creative task. It's your own responsibility to verify that everything in this pipeline works correctly.
Okay, thank you. Excellent presentation. So you got
thank you.
kudos there. Are there any other solutions to check LLMs besides this OWASP?
Yeah, well, actually, OWASP is lagging a bit behind because they are not producing new lists every year. For example, this one is from 2023, I guess. But there are a lot of databases that are updated continuously and showing which vulnerabilities are happening right now, today, yesterday, during this week. And it is really nice to check them and get some ideas for new test scenarios and checking and verifying and giving you some thoughts about what is the security landscape and most vulnerable libraries and components today. So I really encourage you to check both OWASP and those problem or issue databases on a regular basis to get new, fresh ideas of what's happening on this landscape.
Okay. How challenging can it be to detect poisoned images? Some artists deliberately poison their images to prevent LLMs stealing their work.
Mm-hmm. Actually, I don't know. I haven't been working with images and mostly with the background in languages, in different languages. I mostly work with just language part of this of the AI landscape, and I don't know. I will be honest. I don't know.
Okay. What kind of test design techniques would you recommend to test LLM-based tools?
To test LLM-based tools? Well, there are a lot of options, but my favorite one is exploratory hours, where the whole team collects all the collective wisdom and tries to punch the system and tries to find most vulnerable parts of the system. And because it involves the whole team, not only testing team, but also developers, architects, and all the stakeholders, it is very valuable. Usually it is very valuable, and most of the critical bugs we find in this type of systems usually happen when we do it together and kind of brainstorm together, because not a single test design technique is existing test design technique is really adjusted for current LLM landscape. So my advice is to be creative and just invite all your team to the table to discuss and find new issues.
Okay. How different should an AI security strategy be between AI use as integral parts of the end user product versus AI use as a tool for employees?
I need to double check. How different AI security strategy should be between AI use as integral parts of the end user product with for the employees. It depends. As most of the consultants say, it depends on your context, because some of the employees' apps don't have any security concerns, and some of the even apps for the employees, internal apps, they must be secured on a certain level because of the legal requirements and so on. So it depends. It depends completely on your situation and your context. Even though usually we say that, okay, it's easier to start with internal tools, and that's the common recommendation, to start using AI within a limited context, for example, internally in your organization, and then expand it to more public cases or end user applications. And that's actually how we do at our company as well. So we start with a small boxed context and then try to expand.
Okay, we have time for one more question, ladies and gentlemen. Then I suggest you find Maryia at the end, and you can ask her your question if I didn't read your question. AI is widely used by people who are not so tech savvy. How do these risks affect them? What should they look out for?
First of all, I would recommend to only use trusted vendors. So if you don't use chatbots or anything AI related if you don't trust the company. And it is really affecting people. I'm from Sweden, and recently we had a terrific example of how our social security agency tried to create a chatbot for processing the cases for social security payments. And then they totally failed because they didn't have enough data. And some of the social groups, they were completely ignored, and they just got declined all the payments directly. And this is one of the things that could affect everyone, even without knowing. Like, you just create a case in the system and then you get declined because it's AI system that did this, processing. So it's quite hard to convince regular people to be careful with AI, because you have to start like really long in advance and explain how it works and why it could be dangerous. So yeah, my advice is just spread the knowledge, talk to people, and encourage everyone to understand a bit better how it works and why we should care.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your presentation.
Thank you very much.
And like I said, if these questions we didn't get to, if you can find Maryia out in the audience, out in the hall somewhere, ask her your question.
I will be available in the speaker's corner.
Okay.
So let's chat there. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.